Coming up on Cronkite News, robocalls and texts have been blowing up phones this election season. Find out just how many calls are believed to have been placed.
Plus, temperatures across Arizona are about to drop. Find out which areas may even see some snow.
And later, the Arizona Sports Hall of Fame took in some new members last night. See who joined the club.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Ryan Tismaneski.
And I'm Maddie Fries. Thank you for joining us. It's not just the elections that are heating up. Your phones are too, with political robocalls and robo-texts. One firm estimates that Arizonans have received close to 50 million political robo-texts in the last 2 months alone. Cronkite News reporter John Brown has more from our Washington bureau.
It's annoying, even though I like to be kind of politically active and know what's going on.
ASU student Lexi King says the number of political robotexts she gets has crossed the line, a line that should be 0, according to the Federal Communications Commission, which says most robotexts are illegal. But
it seems that political texting is definitely here to stay as a mechanism of generating voter support and voter fundraising.
you can opt into robotext from a campaign, and the FCC says campaigns are free to text you manually, not using auto-dialing technology, but actually having a worker manually dial your number. If you are receiving unwanted messages, you can text the FCC at spam or 7726. You can also file an informal complaint with the FCC at fcc.gov/complaints. According to robokiller.com, Arizona Democrats and Republicans have sent more than 24.3 million political robotext in September, and another 22.5 million through the first 3 weeks of October. That dwarfs the number of robocalls, which totaled just under 1 million for the same period. The RoboKiller data shows Arizona Republicans are more likely to robotext, while Democrats are more often robocallers.
I think one of the things that we're seeing is that as the rise of attack via text is increased, we see the rise in Republicans using it as a way to, affordably and quickly go after an opponent.
Over the years, Ben says he has seen Democrats use phone calling strategies more than Republicans, and that's still true this election season.
When it comes to things like door-to-door and phone banking, those were often much more used methodologies by Democrats.
While they can be annoying, Elaine Kmark says they're not all bad.
To the extent that the robocalls are reminding voters to vote, whether if they can vote early or vote absentee, to that extent, they're actually positive.
Ben says they work, and campaigns know who they are targeting.
But if you're sick of them, I have the secret for you. Return your ballot. The sooner you vote, the sooner you'll be left alone.
In Washington, John Brown, Cronkite News.
In addition to filing a complaint with the FCC, Arizona residents who are being inundated with unwanted robocalls or robotexts can file a complaint with the Arizona Attorney General's office at azag.gov/complaints/consumer.
Following complaints of voter intimidation, a federal judge has temporarily ordered armed groups monitoring ballot drop boxes across the valley to stay away. Members of Clean Elections USA were accused of walking around ballot boxes wearing masks and armed with guns. According to the temporary order, members must stay 250 feet away from all locations. The League of Women Voters of Arizona were involved in the lawsuit filed against them. Today, their president says she is satisfied with the outcome.
We are very grateful that the judge listened to our testimony, our presentation of the case, and the witnesses who were so courageous to come forward at a great risk.
The temporary order will be in effect for 2 weeks.
Election Day is less than a week away, and Arizona is filled with tight races, with lots of money being spent to try to influence voters. For example, there's more than $40 million going into the governor's race. Reporter Alexia Stanbridge spoke with some political experts about how money is influencing the campaigns.
The candidate who has the most money usually has the upper hand, according to experts I spoke to. But this election may be different than most. Katie Hobbs raised more than $12 million, and Carrie Lake raised a little more than $10 million.
Carrie Lake has lacked in fundraising for the past
year and a half, she's been able to make up with media exposure.
Elevate Strategies owner Lorna Romero Ferguson says on top of Kari Lake's media time, Republicans tried to highlight what they call failed policies and issues with the current Democratic president to grab headlines.
Katie Hobbs has to raise more money in order to kind of bridge that gap.
Chuck Coughlin, the CEO and president of High Ground Incorporated, agrees that this cash deficit will not impact Lake's campaign because both candidates raised large sums of money.
I mean, they're both very competitive numbers.
According to the October 29th report filings, Hobbs has about $600,000 that has not been spent, and Lake still has about $1.6 million. Coughlin says it can be difficult to spend money like that this late in the election.
I'm sure they'll figure out a way to spend it, but you know, I'd prefer having my money spent at this point in time.
Robert Grossfeld, Democratic strategist, agrees that this can be tough, saying candidates are probably maxing out on how much television ad space they can buy, but says Lake's money can still be put to use.
If there's any cracks that show up in her campaign, they have more than enough money to patch it and move forward.
Romero Ferguson says Hobbs may have spent her money sooner because her audience is more likely to vote early, where Lake's audience will most likely be at the polls on Election Day.
And now it's making sure that their bases show up to vote.
All the experts I spoke to say this race is currently a toss-up. Coughlin from High Ground says they are looking at the unaffiliated voters that make up about 24% of the electorate. He says candidates can't win this election without them. In the newsroom, Alexia Stambridge, Cronkite News.
The Federal Reserve raised interest rates today by another 0.75 of a percentage point. This increase is the fourth straight rate hike of that amount and the sixth overall. The decision comes as inflation levels continue to push the cost of borrowing money up even further and mortgage rates hit an almost 20-year high. Inflation is triggering concerns of a possible recession. And Fed Chair Jerome Powell acknowledged these concerns, but he said persistent inflation would bring greater economic suffering than a recession would. The Fed isn't done yet. It's expected to increase rates by another 0.5 percentage point in December.
Arizona schools will face massive budget cuts if the state legislature doesn't act soon. Arizona Superintendent of Public Instruction Kathy Hoffman sent a letter to lawmakers yesterday warning them of the situation. Collectively, Arizona schools will need to cut nearly $1.4 billion unless lawmakers vote to lift the spending cap that limits how much schools can spend each year. If the cap isn't lifted, students can expect larger class sizes, school closures, and teacher layoffs, according to Hoffman. She sent a similar letter to lawmakers back in July.
There's a major cold front heading our way, and it's forecast to make some big changes to temps in the valley. Evan Liss is in the Cronkite News Weather Center with what we can expect.
Yeah, this is going to be a huge storm system that's impacting many states in the West Coast, including ours. And the biggest impact we'll be seeing in the lower deserts will be our temperatures plunging. We're 80 degrees today in the lower deserts in the Phoenix metro, and then we're going to be going down by 20 degrees already tomorrow as the center of the storm system moves in. The coldest morning yet will be on Friday. Some freeze advisories in the outskirts of the valley will be happening on that morning. And then high pressure moves in after that, and we start to warm up a little bit. But the big chill won't be the only thing happening with the storm system. There will be other impacts. Rain and snow in many parts of the state, as well as winds picking up. I'll have all the details in the second half of the show.
Coming up after the break, a company is doing its part to reduce its carbon footprint. Find out how tourism can now be a sustainable attraction.
Plus, a major airline is looking to expand. How a new training program will help with a substantial hiring push.
Ain't no time for imitation, ain't no time for playing. I'm just gonna do me.
You know what I'm saying?
Sounds good.
Try to stay
United Airlines is launching a new apprenticeship program because
Where's
of
the fun in that?
anticipated demand for mechanics and other technicians.
You know how ladies can be.
I'ma do what I do.
Did you know newsrooms today are looking for bilingual journalists? Cronkite Noticias prepares you to cover diverse communities. In Cronkite Noticias, you will obtain an unforgettable experience.
Nopales como este van a tumbar.
Cronkite Noticias.
And develop your skills with the latest technology.
That way the flavors will marry nicely.
Can you tell me what I'm looking at?
I'm not looking for love, I'm looking for cookies.
And there's still places to discover.
It just absorbs you.
You can make this at home if you can't find it.
I will continue to eat and drink until you get here. Get here fast.
Cheers.
Oh, look at that. Oh, doesn't that look good?
We are going to be eating well.
It does work.
It does.
We got a happy little sky.
We're just getting started.
More people going on vacations want to travel green. Cronkite News reporter Emily Miranda explains how people from Arizona and California can benefit from sustainable travel.
The founder of the Real Los Angeles Tours, Damian Blackshaw, is focused on eco-friendly travel. His company provides walking and biking tours of Los Angeles. The goal is to create minimal or no pollution. And the tours allow visitors to see and learn about places in Los Angeles not easily seen from a car.
The tourism industry in LA is very much focused around the stars' houses, celebrities, that kind of stuff. And you get in a car and they drive you around these streets, which obviously aren't where the stars live and so on. But it's clearly not very eco-friendly.
The California Department of Parks and Recreation says sustainable tourism is the nation's fastest growing industry. A Visit California survey found 11% of California visitors are likely to worry about their impact on the place they stay. The benefits of sustainable tourism include reducing pollution, minimizing environmental impact, and promoting conservation of wildlife and the environment. Traveling sustainably also helps create a positive experience for tourists and local communities.
And I think people feel better when they discover that and they actually do those experiences, that they know that they've done their part to limit the carbon impact of their trip.
Traveling sustainably also helps support local businesses and economies.
When you walk, you go to a shop, you buy a t-shirt, or even you just get a coffee or something. More interactions are had, more money is spent.
Looking for eco-friendly options for your next trip to California? Start by giving up the theme parks for a hike in one of the 279 state parks. Other eco-friendly options include biking, camping, or walking around outdoor locations such as Griffith Observatory. For around-town transportation, visitors are encouraged to take the metro or bus.
In California, we understand that it's the right thing to do to protect the resources, the environmental resources, and the cultural resources of this great state.
In Los Angeles, Emily Miranda, Cronkite News.
United Airlines is launching a new apprenticeship program because of anticipated demand for mechanics and other technicians. The program is called Calibrate, and it's part of the airline's push to hire 7,000 technicians in the coming years. United currently has about 9,000 workers in mechanical and technical roles, but it's announced major plans to expand its aircraft fleet and says retirements will impact its ranks. United said trainees in the program will be considered employees and will be paid during their apprenticeships.
If you're looking for a cool down, it's coming. Evan List joins us again from the Cronkite News Weather Center with details on a big cold front expected to impact all of Arizona tomorrow.
Yeah, we have a very large storm moving in from the northwest into Arizona tomorrow. It's going to have a big amount of impacts for us all across the state. Now, it's strong, but a very quick mover. By Friday, it's going to be out of the area. However, behind it, polar plunge type pattern is going to set up. Looking in more detail what the precipitation situation is looking like, we're going to have some precip start to move in early tomorrow morning. For your morning commute, areas in the lower deserts will see rain, and then snow will begin in the high terrain. We could see some pop-up thunderstorms as we move into your afternoon hours, and the rain continues. Snow continue along the high country. However, by your evening commute and the nighttime, most of the precip impacts are out of here as it's such a quick moving storm system. Taking a look at the rest of your impacts, it's going to be mainly in northern Arizona sort of target here. Freezing high temperatures, snow above 5,000 feet. Where snow does fall, it'll likely be 4 to 6 inches in the population centers there. In the lower deserts, we won't see as many impacts, but we will see very cool temperatures. Showers and thunderstorms, where thunderstorms do occur in the lower deserts. Small hail is possible just because of how cold this air mass is that's moving in. Looking at our high temperatures for tomorrow, it looks like our low temperature map not even going above freezing in Flagstaff, 32 degrees there, not cresting above 60 in Phoenix. Same sort of situation in the lower deserts, in the lower Colorado River Valley, excuse me. As we look at our 8-day forecast here, we're going to be seeing the 60s, low 60s in Phoenix, and then high pressure starts to move in on Saturday and Sunday, going up into the 70s before we start to go back around average for the beginning of next week. I'm Evan List in the Cronkite News Weather Center.
I'm Emily Bernstein. Coming up after the break, I'll have your Cronkite Sports Report. Barack Obama is in Arizona tonight for a rally, but his eyes may be on partnering with another Valley organization.
Right up in here and start having some fun.
Such a thrill to be able to do this.
Recreation is the gateway drug to conservation.
How do you create that perfect straight edge?
You can do anything.
History is today. Chasing the American dream.
Experience something personal.
A place of imagination.
I can go anywhere I want to go.
You guys are just going to love it.
An entertainment experience unlike anything.
There's something for everyone with Passport on the PBS Video app.
On Masterpiece Mystery.
Evil can find its roots so easily in an English village.
The landscape of criminal investigation.
Murder, almost certainly.
Modern policing methods.
We endeavor to do our best.
We're working hard to solve this case.
And to make sure justice gets done.
It's a new adventure.
And the rest, as they say, is mystery.
I can hardly wait.
Art was one of the powers that made life life. I think we all believed that.
I'm gonna kick down every single door. I'm gonna show you what you never ever seen before. So control you, I'm gonna show you.
This is a real life story of a real live person.
This was my only connection to my culture.
Fight the power.
Our stories deserve to be heard.
You're passionate and you respect your heritage. That is a perfect recipe.
Now is the time for the Reformation. Now is the time to rebuild the nation.
That's amazing.
You're making me cry.
Some girls can go out there and just steal a spotlight.
This is the moment that we've all been waiting for.
Everyone has something to contribute to humanity. The arts are the thing that does that.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Welcome back to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Emily Bernstein. After dropping their first two games at Mullet Arena, the Coyotes finally earned their first home win last night. Not only was it the team's first victory at the new arena, it was also Hockey Fights Cancer Night, kicking off the NHL's month-long awareness campaign. The Coyotes beat the Panthers 3-1 and plan to keep that energy going.
Yeah, it feels good. Like 1-goal games all the way here. I guess 2 tonight, but pretty much a 1-goal game, and that's 3 in a row now. And we're right in these games, and I mean nothing's perfect, but put some decent efforts together, and it's something to build off for sure.
The annual Arizona Sports Hall of Fame induction last night was a star-studded event, paying tribute to some local legends. Cronkite News reporter Lindsay Selzer was at Chateau Lux in Phoenix for the glamorous night.
Arizona Sports Hall of Fame 2022 inductees and their families started the night by gracing the red carpet, including the biggest name in this class, former Arizona Cardinal Larry Fitzgerald.
It's a Hall of Fame that's been established for a very long time and recognize some of the greatest athletes and coaches and entertainers that ever come through this great state.
Although Larry Fitzgerald is not the biggest fan of the spotlight, the 2022 Arizona Sports Hall of Fame induction was important for him to step out for.
I wouldn't say I'm all that comfortable in these type of settings. It's not something that I kind of like set out to accomplish or achieve, but when it is bestowed upon you, you have to honor the legacy.
Women's basketball pioneer Peggy Kennedy was among 3 women who were inducted this year. Kennedy was a trailblazer as she played in the first ever women's basketball league in the United States.
This is history. This is Arizona history tonight. And what I like about it too, it's forever. With our class, it's forever.
The late Pedro Gomez was also recognized as he was inducted for his legendary work in sports journalism. Pedro's wife and children were on hand to accept the honor.
As a family, we're just incredibly grateful, and we're all honored and humbled that
that by him getting inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame, it's just a great way to cement his legacy here, with obviously in the sporting world, but obviously in the community as well.
This Arizona Sports Hall of Fame induction was the 51st, and history was definitely made for the books. In Phoenix, Lindsay Seltzer, Cronkite News.
The Suns could be getting presidential soon if 44th President Barack Obama becomes an owner of the team. Obama, who is in Phoenix today campaigning for Democrats ahead of the election, is rumored to be involved with a group looking to buy the Suns. Coach Monty Williams would welcome more diversity of ownership in the league.
But I think anybody would value a partnership with someone like that. For me, as an African American, even though you may have differences of opinions on certain views politically, whatever that looks like, someone who's been through those kinds of experiences from a leadership standpoint, I would love to just, pick his brain and just sit and listen, for hours.
The Arizona State Fair has come and gone, and this year's month-long festival ended with a bang. Cronkite News reporter Michael Garaffa was there for the final weekend and got to experience its signature closing act.
The Arizona State Fair wrapped up its final weekend with its annual tradition for the last few years, monster trucks. The All-Star Monster Truck Tour put on 6 free shows for anyone interested in seeing these beasts up close.
It's 12,000 pounds, 1,500 horsepower, and it jumps 30 foot in the air, and it's just a spectacle to see.
Whether it's a huge fair or a small local fair, the All-Star Monster Truck Tour brings high-quality monster truck entertainment, and we bring it to the masses worldwide.
For one driver, Dalton Widener, the Arizona State Fair holds a special place in his heart.
This is actually the place that I actually first started driving monster trucks. 2019, I started driving a ride truck for the first time. First time I ever got in a monster truck was right here, so this place is kind of special to me.
It is also special to the fans who get to see the monster trucks, most of whom experiencing it for the first time.
Seeing Mud Monkey and all the other ones just going up the ramps and, all the loud noises. It was pretty fun. Me and my son, we enjoyed it. So it was pretty cool, man. We had a good time.
Overall, it's a pretty good show. You get to see a monster truck, see long jumps, the wheelies. You can just see moonwalks, stoppies, and everything.
For the drivers and the All-Star Monster Truck Tour, it makes it all worth it to see the enjoyment on the fans' faces.
Oh, dude, they go crazy. They scream, they yell, they love to go crazy. That's what we love. They love to wave their checkered flags. That's when our monster truck drivers get wild and crazy.
Getting to see the kids that come up and just, they're wide-eyed and amazed that they get to see something this big that does the stuff that it does.
In Phoenix, Michael Garaffa, Cronkite News.
That's it for today's Cronkite Sports Report. Back to you, Maddie.
Coming up after the break, ASU is taking part in groundbreaking research. Find out how they're partnering up internationally to make strides in the field.
In here and start having some fun.
Such a thrill to be able to do this.
Recreation is the gateway drug to conservation.
How do you create that perfect straight edge?
You can do anything.
History is today. Chasing the American dream.
Experience something personal.
A place of imagination.
I can go anywhere I want to go.
You guys are just gonna love it.
An entertainment experience unlike anything.
There's something for everyone with Passport on the PBS Video app.
On Masterpiece Mystery.
Evil can find its roots so easily in an English village.
The landscape of criminal investigation.
Murder, almost certainly.
Modern policing methods.
We endeavor to do our best.
We're working hard to solve this case.
And to make sure justice gets done.
It's a new adventure.
And the rest, as they say, is mystery.
I can hardly wait.
Art was one of the powers that made life life. I think we all believed that.
I'ma kick down every single door. I'ma show you what you never ever seen before. So control you, I'ma show you.
This is a real life story of a real live person.
This was my only connection to my culture.
Fight the power.
Look at me now, look at me now.
Our stories deserve to be heard.
You're passionate and you respect your heritage. That is a perfect recipe.
Now is the time for the Reformation. Now is the time to rebuild the nation.
That's amazing. You're making me cry.
Some girls can go out there and just steal a spotlight.
This is the moment that we've all been waiting for.
Everyone has something to contribute to humanity. The arts are the thing that does that.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
ASU is joining the international quantum race with a new collaborative initiative to research quantum technology. The initiative, called Quantum Collaborative, is projected to have a huge impact on new discoveries and technologies by working together with many new partners. Some of the partners include Google Quantum AI and Tecnológico de Monterrey. One of their focuses will be quantum computing, which experts say may change computing as we know it today. Other areas that are expected to improve through this research is human health, climate science, cybersecurity, and artificial intelligence.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.